2 years ago, I actually applied to go to the world race. I applied kind of in hopes of, doing missions and feeling called to go, but what was really hard is I don't think my heart was really in it, and I don't think that I was ready to commit. And so the time came and my heart was so terrified and I just didn't know what to do. So I backed out of fear. I was in a time of my life where fear was controlling every decision that I made. I was afraid of where God was calling me to go, and I was afraid of what that would entail, what that meant. Giving up your life is such a terrifying thing when you don't know what's on the other side of giving up. So I bailed. I kind of jumped ship and I decided to choose my own path. There was a lot of guilt and sorrow in that, and I kind of learned that God was working in me, and God was showing me, hey, you didn't choose the path that I wanted you to choose, so here I am, I'm gonna work with you in this, but you gotta go. It may be in a year, it may be in 2 years, but it's still on your heart and you may not know that. But the past 3 months, I really felt God calling. And I can't always explain what that means, but it's almost like a soft voice in the back of your head that's just saying hey, I'm here, I'm ready, you just gotta leap, you gotta jump, and you gotta go in with me. And so I applied. I was like, okay, God, I have a career right now, I've got a path, it's super good, but I'm gonna apply. I'm gonna see if you want me to go, and if I get accepted, that's one door. Then we'll get to the next door when we get there. But so I applied, I got accepted, which I was sitting there okay, now I actually have to make the decision, do I want to go? And so the past 2 months, I've been praying. I've been praying with everything that I have so fervently. I can honestly say that I've seen God work in more ways in my life than none. He has been moving my heart in a way that I couldn't even explain, because I've actually committed myself to Him in a way that I haven't in years. It's breaking my heart, and I asked Him to break my heart. And so I said yes. 2 weeks ago, I was sitting in my room, and He was just like, hey, I think that you need to pick your Bible up. I think that you need to read it. And I went over there and I picked up my Bible, and in that was a letter from my mom. And it was actually from when I was supposed to leave 2 years ago. When I opened the letter up and it hadn't been read. And it was just a letter from my mom saying, I love you so much. I'm in so much support of what you've done, and you're making big decisions in your life. And that was such a big reminder for me that God is calling me to go on this trip. If we listen, if we pursue the Lord with everything that we have, that He will open doors that we can't even imagine. He will bring forgiveness into our lives, and He will bring movement. And I think that is so big. And in that moment, I wanted to remember that, because in the next, year, in the next 2 years of my life and me pursuing this trip, I need to listen, and I need to fervently pursue Him and be tenacious after the Lord's heart, because I know what He's gonna do. And even in that, the more that we listen to His voice and what He is calling us to do, oh my gosh, the more that we will see Him move, and the more that we will hear Him in our lives. And that's why I'm going. I feel God moving. And some people ask, why would you go? Why would you do this? And it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't to me either. I can't explain it. But the path that God leads and where God is present is the path that we can't plan, that we can't see the other side. And God's kind of like, hey, I know there's darkness in this new journey. There's darkness over on that side, and you don't see it yet. But gosh, I see it, and I see where you're going. I see the other side, and you will be renewed, you will be restored, and you will be whole in me. So the World Race is a 11-month mission trip where you go to 11 different countries. The expedition route is the one that I chose, and it's a little different than any other on the World Race. It will be a little more adventurous, a little more deep, and a little harder. This is all because all the travel that we will be doing will not be by air. It'll be by either road or by boat. And it requires you to be a little more deep in your relationship with Christ, and it requires you to, be a little more physically active. The expedition route is just a little harder of ministry. So a lot of the stuff that we will be doing will require sex trafficking, which I have a really big heart for. We will be working on the streets. We'll be working with our hosts, the people who are kind enough to let us go into their homes and spend time with them. We will be, doing ministry within adoption agencies and with children who've never really felt the love of Christ. On the World Race, I will be going to Australia, Indonesia, India, Nepal, China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Azerbaijan, Turkey, Spain, and Morocco in the span of 11 months. So the total amount that I need to raise to go on the world race is $19,800. Seems like a lot, but God is so, so good. The 4 different deadlines that I have are September 26th of this year, I need to have $5,000 raised. Then by December 13th, I need $10,000 raised. And then I will launch in January of 2020 to leave for the trip officially. And then on March 31st, I need $13,000 raised. By May of 2020, I need to be fully funded. And by partnering with me and partnering with God, you will give me the ability to go on this 11-month mission trip. And I know that may seem like a lot, but God provides when He calls you to do something. You can either provide by praying. That is so, so big. In the past 2 months, I've learned how big prayer is in this journey. I need your support in fundraising. By donating even $5, $10, that will help me get one step closer to going on this journey. By partnering with me in prayer, by donating, or just supporting me in general, you will help me get one step closer to going on the 11-month mission trip called the World Race. I'm excited for what God has in store for these next 2 years of my life, and I'm excited for you to join in with me.